For today's video, we are going to spend some time with the water-methanol injection controller. So this is where you can finally just like sit down for once, breathe a little bit, and struggle with this little tool. So why do I say you're going to struggle with it? Okay, just quickly look at it. Let me just show you. So on it, let me put on the flash as well. There we go. So on it, we literally have two knobs, which is basically your your first stage of spraying, and then your full stage of spraying. We'll talk a little bit later about that. And then you've got one button. So why is it difficult? Is because there's four menus, there's no screen, and one button. How the hell are you supposed to control four menus and know what you're activating and then getting everything right so it actually works? So the day when I installed it, you guys saw the video, I think 2 Saturdays ago or something of that sort. Guys, I battled like for 3 hours to get this thing installed. That's why at the end I told you guys that yeah, it will be on another video. So what is it, like a year later? Now I'm only doing it. Okay, not a year, maybe 6 months later. Now I'm only doing it. This is really complicated, and there's a lot of, yeah, you gotta know what you're doing. I will send you guys, in the description I'll have a link to where you guys can get a lot of the info and all those kind of things and do more research about it. That link will help you guys out a lot. So anyway, let's quickly talk about this one. So currently when the red one is on, that means we're ready to spray. So if we have to drive now and go, it will spray. But we got to get into menu mode. So you can't get into menu mode when the car's ignition is on. You got to turn it off. What you got to do is hold this button in between 1 and 5 seconds and press the key button at the same time. So I'm going to try to do it with both hands. So let's press it. 1, 2, 3. That didn't work good. Sorry, the phone fell. And then on top of it, we're back into this mode, which means we are not in menu mode. Let's quickly turn the ignition off again. Let's try it again. So hold it in, focus. It's about 3 seconds. There we go. We're in menu mode. What a struggle that is holding a phone. I'm telling you guys, yeah, doing YouTube, your left hand becomes very clever. For you just always end up holding the camera with your right hand. So we're in menu mode now. All 3 lights is on. But okay, menu mode. So what we got to do is just press this button once. You'll get a flash. Oh, we're in menu 2 now. Do you guys see it? It's flashing twice. Okay, hold up. That's 3. This is menu 4. Menu 1. There we go. There's the one flash. You got to make sure it flashes only once. So we're in menu 1. So now we can enable it and disable it. How do you know if it's enabled or disabled? You got to hold in this button. So if you hold it in for just 2 seconds, you'll see the blue light actually turned on. That means it's enabled. And if the blue light is off, let's hold it in. It is disabled. So that is basically how you enable and disable it. So what is flash 1? So this is the pre-pressurizing stage. So what I'm going to do is in this video, I'm going to assume that you guys know a little bit of the water-methanol kit. I mean, if you installed it yourself, you know about the solenoids, the pressure monitoring system unit. I'll do quick explanations about everything. The pre-pressurizing is basically from your Water-Meth pump. So my fuel line is running all the way here on the side of the car to the nozzles in front. So that is basically if that whole fuel line till the solenoid. Remember, your solenoid must be as close to the nozzle as possible. The entire line before it must be pressurized. So that is basically your controller is telling the solenoid, do not open, it stays shut. And then it's telling the pump, okay, pump, you got to just make sure this pressure is remaining in the system. Okay, so basically the pump is constantly on, but it's not on at full blast, if it makes any sense. It's just keeping the pressure in that fuel line. So that's when you can enable it and disable it. So once again, you cannot enable it if you don't have a solenoid. If you don't have a solenoid, it will just push all that fuel into your intercooler system. You'll flood your whole car with Water-Meth, and you're just gonna waste it. And you're gonna have to remove the boost pipes, and this is going to be such a hassle. So in my case, I do not have a solenoid, so mine has to be off. Then we're going to click it once, go to menu 2, 2 flashes. I almost had to go back and quickly look up what was menu 2, but I remembered. So this is the auxiliary section. So basically, what is auxiliary section? So the auxiliary section has actually got 2 options, right? Which is completely different things. So see it as like a menu 2 and then chapter 1 and chapter 2 basically. So chapter 1 is when you have the pressure monitoring system unit installed, whatever you call it, that device to make sure that you've got enough pressure in your car. So basically is boot safe. Boost safe, not boot, boost safe. So what it does is as soon as it finds out that there's a problem with the pressure or something, it will automatically, depending on your pressurize enabled or disabled, it will actually keep spraying even though you let go of the throttle, to make sure that you get enough Water-Meth in your system, so that you rather have too much than too little, because a lot of times people tune their cars for these water-methanol injection kits. So when it fails, you can really run at that moment, maybe run a little bit lean or have too much timing and too much boost and actually hurt your motor. So having the blue light on, it basically means you have the pressure monitoring system installed, and at the same time, when it's dysfunctioning, it stays on for a couple of seconds later, I think 2 or 3 seconds longer. So then next to that, if you do disable it like mine, so as you guys can see, the blue light is off. So if it is like this, where it's off, what it basically means is that you are going to install one of those, they call it like some kind of thing. It's like a light, a LED light you'll put somewhere. Maybe you'll put it in underneath here, but like in your view. So then it depends on how many times it flashes. Every flash means something. So it means you're going to use that light, but I'm not using that light. So that is basically because they want to make sure that this thing is basically always tucked away and you don't have to look at it, because obviously you got to look down at it, but you can't see where you're racing or where you're driving to or rushing to, you know. So to have the LED light in your sight somewhere, or having the pressure monitoring system actually backing you up, making sure everything is fine. So that is menu 2. So enable means you've got that pressure monitoring system installed. Disable means you're going to use the light. So what we want to do now is just click the button again. And yeah, this is like the second or third time I'm trying to like record this part, because I keep on making it too difficult to explain or understand. So, okay, map number 3. Very simple. It basically works with these two knobs. So what are these two knobs? We've got full over here on the right hand side and start on the left hand side. So let's start with full. Full is basically when it just sprays fully. So if you've got a CB7 nozzle in or a CB10 nozzle in, it's just that's spraying full. It's spraying everything it has. That is when it sprays full. Also, full can be adjusted differently to start. So let's quickly understand what is start. So the stage 2 controller actually has got 2 spray settings. So I forgot the word. It's basically when let's say you don't have Water-Meth and you get to a certain boost as you're accelerating, it starts progressively. There we go, progressively. So it will start spraying progressively. That's the start. So it will spray it progressively and hold it there until you go into boost, and it will start curving up and spray full as you're going into boost. So it is progressive spraying. So that's basically what the start is for. So then the full is for. So you can say that it must start spraying at 0.4 bar, but spray max at 1 bar. Does that make any sense? I hope so. It better. I'm not recording this part again. Then that is basically what it is. So this is not where you adjust it. No. This menu 3 is basically if you have more than one injector or whatever, CB nozzle, whatever you want to call it, into your car. For example, on the full one, you're going to run its own separate line. The full line will have a solenoid. The solenoid will be controlled by the controller, letting it know, okay, I'm going to spray full, solenoid open. So on the solenoid lines, you will, for example, 99% of the time, you'll have the port injection. That is when, on my car, I've got an inline 4 with the intake manifold, and they call it 4 runners from the intake manifold going towards your piston. You'll have 4 injectors on it for the Water-Meth kit, right? So not fuel injectors for the car, for the Water-Meth kit. So then those 4 will work on a solenoid, which will work on the full one. Then the start one will have its own fuel line, which will have a non-return valve. The non-return valve, remember, the fuel can go through it, but it cannot go back. So meaning that as soon as you get to your 0.4 or 0.5 bar boost and this one starts to activate, it will actually push the fuel through that non-return valve going to your second, or whatever your second part of the fuel injector system, which will maybe, for example, go into your boost system. So you'll have your port injection on your intake manifold, and you'll have a second system running from one fuel pump with like a T-piece in it or something, with a non-return valve going into your boost system. So what that means is that once you go a little bit into boost, it can cool the air down nicely all the way until it gets to your engine, and then once you've reached the boost, it will just spray a lot of Water-Meth. It will spray it into your system. So yeah, that is if you enable it. If you've disabled it, it means you don't have a solenoid, and then it will progressively just use number one once you've reached the boost, number two. So yeah, if you only have one fuel line with no T-piece or Y-piece in it, you'll leave it disabled. If you have two system, a system in it as, yeah, like I told you, port injection and a normal, and then a boost pipe spray, then you'll enable it. So we have got menu 3 out of the way now. Wow, that was a mouthful. Anyway, let's go to menu number 4. So this one, you'll see it's flashing like this. This is basically menu 4. They call it the interfering menu or something like that. So basically what it is that you can have boost reference to know that, okay, at 0.5 bar boost, you adjust it. Okay, it must spray at 0.5 bar boost. And then once the car has reached that boost, it will start spraying it. But remember, these kits, they also work on normal aspirated kits. And normal aspirated kits can't do 0.5 bar boost. So how is it going to work on them? So they have actually, like, in the system where that you install, they've got a own separate cable. I think it's a white cable. That cable is referenced, for example, to a MAF sensor, MAF, to your MAF sensor, or TPS sensor, whatever you want to do. Once it receives a certain amount of voltage, which means that your acceleration has increased so much that the voltage to read it is needed more, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to call it. It works basically on voltages from your MAF sensor instead of working on your boost. You will use this menu number 4. So if the blue one is on, it means it is enabled, which is boost reference. And if you switch it off, it is a voltage reference. So you can also use, like I said, voltage for different things and all that kind of stuff. And maybe you'll use this one for your starting your spraying voltage. For example, 2 volts you'll start spraying, and at 3 volts, because remember it's only a 5 volt it's a 5 volt system. So at 2 volts you'll start spraying, and at 3 volts you'll be full, or whatever the case is, however you adjust it. And then once you're done, you click on it and it goes back to the start. Okay, so now we have gone through the menu part, but now we need to work on these 2 knobs, how to set it up and how to prime your system. Those are 2 last factors. We're going to turn the ignition on again. Boop, boop, boops. There we go. We are ready to boost. So what you want to do is, if you want to prime your system, you're going to hold this one in for less than 5 seconds. It's going to do that and listen. There we go. It was priming and it's done. So also please note that if you have got the SPMU, PMSU, or whatever, that pressure monitoring system in, it will keep on, priming, I think for 10 seconds or something, or unless the pressure monitoring system actually picked up pressure, then it'll stop automatically. But because I don't have it in, it only primes for 3 seconds. I think that 10 seconds might be 5 seconds, whatever the case is. That's how you prime it. You just hold it in a little bit. I'm regretting that I'm doing it now twice because I've got a pretty big nozzle in it. Listen. There we go. Okay, so we have got that. Secondly, or lastly, we're going to adjust these 2 knobs. So you can adjust it as you want. I've just turned all of them all the way down, right? So now they're down. You're going to go and drive, and your car is not going to react like you turn it. Even if you turn it up all the way, it's not going to do what you're asking for. The reason why is whenever you adjust it, you need to go and hold it in until all the lights flashes. Or, yeah, there we go. Boom. Now it's saved it, which means now it's basically just going to spray as soon as I go into boost. And I'm like, okay, no. This one I'm going to turn a little bit. And this one, obviously, I'm going to turn more. We're going to hold it in again. Booms. There, it's saved the new one. So that's crazy. I mean, like, there is so many freaking options that and things you need to do to get it right and understand it. If you do not understand those things, you're going to have a real tough time. I'm telling you now. Whew, that was a mouthful, guys. Peace out. Let me know if you need any help. I think hopefully you guys will understand everything after this voice set. I'm getting so hot in this car. Sun is shining outside and all of that. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you legends in my next video. Scream if there's any help that you need. I will once again drop the link in the description for you guys, where you guys can go and then have a proper look and understand everything properly what I've mentioned.